Hello, viewers. Welcome to this week's edition of our educative series at the Lead Impact Initiative. Hi, I'm Okoyemi Fatayo. Thank you for joining us. This week, we'll be talking about maintaining biodiversity along riparian corridors. And then, when we talk about biodiversity, we are talking about the variability of life on Earth within spatial and temporal context, that is, within space and time. And when we talk about riparian corridors, we're talking about the narrow stretch, or let me say, the zone of transition between rivers and the adjacent land areas. And then this riparian corridor is one of the most complex and most biodiverse habitats in the world. And then this particular habitat we are talking about, the riparian corridor, it provides very many services. We call them ecosystem services to humans. And then, these services include the fact that the vegetation helps to filter sediment and nutrients. It helps to filter sediment, to stabilize nutrients, and to stabilize the sediment. And in this wise, the stabilized sediment help to build river banks and prevent flooding, and as well as agricultural runoff. And apart from that, the fact that the river helps, or let me say the vegetation helps to filter sediment, ensures that the river water is clean. Now, we can also talk of the fact that the riparian vegetation provides shade for the river, and such that the water temperature is low, and this is safe for aquatic animals. And then we can also talk about nutrient cycling and retention as part of the ecosystem services that humans benefit from riparian vegetation. And then, well, we talk of stream shading already, and then we talked of prevention of flooding and agricultural runoff. Now, apart from these aforementioned services, we can also talk of some cultural services that this ecosystem provides, and these include recreational services as well as aesthetic services. And then we all know that in some cases, this riparian vegetation, or let me say this riparian corridor, including the river itself, they serve spiritual purposes. Now, over the time, or let me say in recent times, there has been a whole lot of interference from humans. I want you to know that of every human developmental project, they are all aimed at destroying the ecosystem, and then the riparian ecosystem is not an exemption. So in recent times, owing to human technological advancements and owing to some other factors which we will discuss some today, there has been a lot of interference at the riparian zone. Now, we should also note the fact that the ancient man also tampered with the environment, but it is not in such a large scale as we have today. Now, the modern man is so much, advanced, and through his ingenuity, he has been able to, alter the environment at a very large scale, and this is affecting biodiversity. And we've pointed out earlier that high biodiversity is desirable, and then when we can't get it, the riparian vegetation and all other altered systems have to shift to adjust and adapt to the new normal. And then by the time we keep adapting, there might be extinction. Now let's talk about some of the interference that we have on the riparian corridor. And I think we all know the fact that the Niger Delta is a zone of very high biodiversity. I mean, the Niger Delta is one of the zones in the world that has the most biodiverse nature. And then now, as a result of mineral exploitation, or let me say exploration, we have altered this particular ecosystem. Look at what is obtained in the Niger Delta area of Nigeria today. There is oil spill, and then it is affecting quite a number of marine lives. Now, apart from that, we have channelization of rivers. Many rivers today have been channelized. You see that walls are being built on each side and even on the riverbed, and then this affects biodiversity. And apart from that, we have urbanization. Today the human society keeps growing. There is formation of urban centers every day, and this is affecting biodiversity. Why? Because most of vegetation will be cleared off before such urbanization processes begin. Now we have fire. Bush burning is actually a very common thing in developing countries such as Nigeria, as we have here. So, and then apart from that, flooding is another aspect of threat to biodiversity. We have deforestation, we have bush burning, and even agriculture. And lastly, I'll be discussing population. Now, the more increase we have in population, the more materials we demand, and then the more exploitation is done on our biodiverse ecosystem. And so, we have pollution as well. Technological advancement has brought a whole lot of industries, and then we pollute our waters with DDT, pesticides, agrochemicals, oil spills, industrial effluent, and all those. So technological advancement is also a threat to biodiversity. And then apart from that, we have the introduction of exotic species like melina, we have Citarex, Xylon cordatum, and Pisidium guachava. They are all exotic species, and these species, they tend to establish themselves fast enough such that they tend to compete with local, or let me say native species, for light, space, and nutrients. Now, all these have been the modifying factors to the riparian corridor. And then what do we do? What do we do? That's the next question. The first thing is we need to reduce bush burning. We need to reduce bush burning, and apart from that, we need to control human population, because the lesser people we have on earth, the lesser materials we demand, and then the lesser the interference on the ecosystem. And then apart from that, there should be a legislation, a strong legislation that will be enforced, such that people that destroy the biodiverse ecosystem along rivers should be prosecuted. Now, apart from that, we can also control exotic species. We can try as much as possible to discourage the introduction of exotic species, and then we should ensure proper waste disposal of our industrial effluent, of our agricultural waste, and the like. And then the last solution I'll be putting forward today is controlled cultivation. We talked of the fact that agriculture is one of those factors that are responsible for the modification of the riparian ecosystem, and it's true. So we need to control the way we plant, the way we crop, such that it doesn't take its toll on the biodiverse ecosystem along the riparian zone. I hope today has been educative enough, and see you next week. Thank you for joining us today.